What's up, guys? Aaron from Metro East Libertarians coming to you with a super sweet live stream about some stuff that went down in Collinsville recently. And I think that you're going to find this interesting, even if you don't live in Collinsville. Mainly what I'm going to talk about is not the specific case that went on, but sort of how it affects liberty. So I'm going to kind of set the stage and then bring it back around to talk about how local governments can use this sort of setup to basically control the makeup of the local bodies in our area. And as you know, we've been kind of harping on this, is that the local bodies in your these smaller levels of government, they affect your lives in a very direct and a very immediate way. So it's very important that we pay attention to them, we see what they're doing wrong, see if they're trying to trample on our liberties and things like that. Okay, so here's the situation. So in Collinsville, there's a city council election that's coming up. Now, normally there'd be a primary election on, I think it's February 28th. If there are over X number of candidates, I want to say it's 5. And the top 5 candidates from the February 28th primary election would move on to the consolidated elections in April. All right. So there are only 4 candidates filed for Collinsville City Council. So therefore the primary is not needed. So moving on right to the consolidated elections, all 4 candidates are automatically qualified unless there's objections. Now, one gentleman from the Collinsville area did file an objection to 2 of the candidate packets for City Council. I'm not going to get into all the grounds and everything. I think he had some decent arguments that one in particular I think should have been upheld, but I don't really know. I've never been involved in this type of thing. But anyway, so here's how it shook out. So in the top there in the gray suit, we have John Miller. He's the mayor of Collinsville. All right, he is going to chair this hearing for the objections of the petitions. Well, actually, the hearing officer becomes Stephen Giacoletto, who was the city attorney, for lack of a more descriptive term. Okay, so he's the hearing officer, so he's sort of holding it. The hearing is held by the electoral board of the city. Why? Because these consolidated elections, the body for which the election is being held is also the election authority, unlike a statewide election where there is a state board of elections, which is an impartial, outside, uninterested party that is not, in bed with the Republicans and Democrats, as we know, which is great for us. Okay, so John Miller is on the electoral board. Now, the other people on the board are the city clerk, who I don't have pictured here, and then I believe it's Nancy Moss, the nice lady pictured above, but she's involved in the election. So then the next person would be the next highest, or the next senior person on the city council, which would be, I believe, Jeff Kipta. He's also in the election. So neither of those two are impartial parties for the hearing. So what that leaves us with is this. A court appointed the next, who would be the next eligible person, and that is this gentleman in the sort of dark suit, Jeff Stamen. I believe it's Jeff Stamen. Anyway, his name's Stamen. All right, now the guy in the nice headshot here, lawyery looking headshot, is a lawyer, and they say 99% of lawyers give the rest a bad name, so you can't just assume this guy is not a cool guy just because he's a lawyer. This is Dave Jerome, who is the candidate for which the filing was objected. All right, now here's where things go crazy. So Nancy Moss and Jeff Kipta almost always vote against these TIF districts, these TIF handouts, the increases in the taxes, like this one that we just had with the utility tax was increased like 300% from 1 point something to 4.4. Just crazy stuff. Well, Moss and Kipta are always voting against these things, right? John Miller Jeff Stamen, and then Bromlich and whoever else, I forget the other person on the board, they always vote with the mayor. All right, so as you see in these local elections, these are not party members, if you will, but if there were parties, these guys would all be on the same party. Nancy Moss and Jeff Kipta would be in one party, and the mayor and the rest of the council would be in the other. All right, so that's kind of what I'm getting at with where I think all this stuff went wrong. Now, this guy Dave Jerome is, from what I understand, he's favored by the mayor, and he's going to be, if he's favored by the mayor, you have to assume that he is going to be on the same side with Jeff Stamen, right? I mean, this is a pretty easy conclusion here. The city clerk, I'm just going to go ahead and give her and the attorney, or the city attorney, the benefit of the doubt here and say that they're impartial parties. But 2 out of the 3 votes, if there's not something blatantly illegal about this candidate Dave Jerome's filings, there's definitely an open door here for impartiality. That's all I'm getting at. Did they act inappropriately in the hearing? I'm not saying they did. They did rule in favor of Dave Jerome, and again, like I said, I think there were a couple good arguments against his filing, but I don't know. So, and I'm not here to say that they didn't act impartially. But what I am here to say is, look at what's going on here. They've got their little kingdom set up, and they can run it how they want. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. I went to the hearing the other day, and it was a very enlightening experience. If your local area, you find out that anybody objects to a petition filing, go check out that hearing. It's really interesting the way things shake out and the way these things are run, and I think it's something that we can benefit from knowing about. Okay, now, so beyond that, let's see, some local issues since I'm streaming here. Wednesday night in Troy, there's going to be a meeting. Hillary Clinton's fly is trying to get me here. Wednesday night in Troy, there's going to be a meeting at the Tri-City Recreation District where they're trying to raise their tax levy 20%, and they're not going to put it to a vote. As you know, that stuff's been going on all over Madison County. Voters have been doing these referendums and stuff to avoid these backdoor referendums. I don't know if I want to get involved in that. We'll see what I know. Americans for Prosperity is all over this. They're spreading the word, trying to get people to this meeting on Wednesday night. I believe it's 6:30. The information for that is on the Mel page, so check that out. Come out to that if you want. Even if you don't live in Troy, again, it's going to be really interesting. I'm definitely going to go out there. Myself and Chris Delaney pretty well have our petitions wrapped up. If you have time tomorrow or Wednesday to collect some more petitions, let us know. Collect some more signatures, because we'd like to have a few more insurance signatures just in case we get challenged, because we're not going to have the benefit of owning half the board, more 2/3 of the board if we go to a hearing or whatever. So that's just not going to happen. All right, man, that's all I got. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. We're going to meet in January. We got to do officer elections. But yeah, I hope you find that stuff about the way that hearing went interesting. If you do, leave us a comment, tell your friends about it, those types of things. That helps us out, help us spread the word. Starting to think that these local issues might be our home in for libertarians. It's a smaller pool. We're allowed in basically. We don't have to fight from the outside. There's a little bit less power, and I think we can be effective there. So, and I know Ryan down from Belleville, he's on the local issue thing. So let's do some damage in those areas in 2017. I mean, this is definitely not our time to be sitting out, for sure. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. I know I rambled on a little bit, but hey, share this video with your friends, and hope to see you guys in January up at the VFW. See ya.